I'm surprised why nobody is talking about the true uproar Counter-Strike 2 is about to bring into the industry. And no, the new engine is not even a reason why this game is going to be successful. It has nothing to do with the new smoke mechanics, the shooting through the vents, the chickens. They're all cool things, don't get me wrong, but that's not going to be why this game's going to be successful. Valve accidentally stumbled across a formula that they discovered so many years ago that companies till today are struggling to follow. And it was all because this game is run by the community. The veterans of Counter-Strike know that this game came from a mod, and it was initially a mod for Half-Life. They made the mod, it was a beautiful thing, and then it started expanding with more and more community-based content, and then eventually became its full-on running game, Counter-Strike 1.6.
This could be your phys cheat on your man, homie. Ah, I tried to sneak through the door, man. Can't make it, the shit's stuck. Out my way, son! Door stuck!
It's that bomb now. Bomb has got 11 seconds, got to make it go for it. Oh, Delpat misses the shot, but I don't think he's going to make it. This is going to be very close. It's very close, and I think he's got it. Markov on the bomb. 4 versus 1, wins the round. Second Starix gets shot. Markov, though, again on fate. Oh, nearly nailed the man falling off the top. He won't know where he is. That bomb side, it's used to make the opening kill. The entry is good on face. Yeah, right though. Doesn't land the first shot. That was awful. Give that back to Delpat.
Valve took notice of this game's success and then eventually said, hey, you know what? Let's make this a game. Let's make it happen. They decided to release Counter-Strike Source, Valve's official product for the Source engine. It was a major hit, not only in the casual scene, but in the competitive scene. Counter-Strike was shifting away from being this fun social game that people play to being a sweatfest, and it was good for the game. Companies like ESEA, they stepped in and started introducing matchmaking, which was very competitive, and there was a skill ladder, there was so much stuff, it was fun, everyone liked it. And then they decided to make a console port, and while doing so, they accidentally made, well, at least stumbled across the formula of success. Now, what is the formula of success? Well, I'm glad you asked. Good on you. Today we learn the formula for success considers of 5 categories in the online multiplayer gaming industry. Single player games, they don't need to follow these 5, but when it comes to a game which is team A versus team B or player 1 versus player 2, and it's done through online servers, you need to follow these 5 categories if you want really long-term success. If you're in it for the short run, you can probably get away with not integrating one of these categories, and companies have done that. I will get into that in a second. The 5 categories were accessibility, a competitive or casual scene, good community support, and development from the owners of the game themselves. And while Valve worked on CSGO over the years, they've accidentally followed all 5 of these categories. This entire game is an accident to begin with. The success Valve have from the game is an accident, and then some of the skins are expensive because they're an accident. It's crazy. A lot of this game's success came from luck as well, but it's entirely a calculated risk at the end of the day. Some of the most successful games in a previous era get punished heavily when they stop following one of these categories. An example being Overwatch. Yeah, at one point it was pretty fun, casual, goofy, accessible, but then the developers stopped supporting the game, reducing its lifespan, and then the false promises, the lazy integrations, the lazy balancing of agents or whatever they're called, characters, I don't know.
They don't rework the heroes. No, that would be too much work. Instead, they just make them so disgustingly overpowered that they let support heroes get away with whatever they want. So, and that's their solution. The
bad development is eventually what killed this game. Not killed, but eventually just reduced this game's lifespan, and now it struggles to even hit the player base it once had. A lot of other games out there either at one point followed this formula or no longer follow it at all. It sounds much easier in theory to make a game that just follows all 5 of these categories, but trust me, this is really hard to execute. You need a lot of years of experience, not only in the industry, but more so in just making your game and managing it. And then above that, you need big capital to support insane projects. And there's only 2 companies out there who have managed to truly taste success. And one of those companies, or one of those games, is Fortnite. It was competitive, it was casual, accessible, I guess, a good community support throughout the years, and the development. The development is something Epic do really well with Fortnite. Initially, this game nailed every requirement to making a successful online game.
It's Stubbs down low, and Riversand has Stubbs on his sight. Who's gonna get the win? Not to get hit by that storm. Someone's gonna be above him. He's too good at elimination. Stubbs has the high ground, but he dies in front of him, and Stubbs gets a victory royale. The final moments of Fortnite World Cup. Oh my gosh! Bow down! Bow down to Booga! Doesn't even matter. 4 players, 3 players remaining. It's a fight out for the victory royale.
Throughout the years, not only porting it to a new engine, but to change how players saw the game is what Epic did really well. Initially, this game was a sweat fest. Like, everyone, all the kids out there were grinding this game just to become the next Tifu. It's a big reason to why Epic had to make some questionable decisions with the game. As the years gone by, Fortnite made amazing numbers in the competitive industry. I think it had the highest prize pool in the history of gaming with how much revenue was coming into the game. And not only that, it had so many viewers just watching competitive players because they themselves wanted to get better at the game, and the only way to get better is to watch the best at the end of the day. And it's not only that, Epic, they nailed the accessibility chart. They revitalized how games are made nowadays. Nowadays, games aren't made with online games, not single player.
Oh Lord.
Nowadays, online games are made with the perception that you need to buy in-game stuff to make up for the game's price. Epic were the only company who really understood this and pushed it into a larger audience. With the success Fortnite had, it was only because it was free to play and it had an integrated battle pass. The battle pass is probably the best innovation in corporate history I've ever seen. Congratulations, Epic. You have my respect. You made games free. Good on you. The battle pass was initially an idea of that the game is free for anyone to play, and then as you play the game, you level up your battle pass, and if you put money into the battle pass, you get like all these cool rewards, and it was cheap as well. I think it was only 10 quid to actually get a full-on battle pass. And this method definitely was a big reason for Epic's success. It attracted a lot of children, a lot of teenagers. It attracted a large younger audience, and even till today that audience is still playing the game. Well, at least the majority of them are still playing the game. Fortnite has always been accessible because it was free. No other game out there was free at the time. CS had a price point on it. Valorant wasn't out. Overwatch had a price point as well. Rocket League was a paid game as well. All these games out there had price points, and the only ones to step in and to change that perception was Epic Games. And they were successful because of it. They came in early, they dominated the market, just like Valve did with their Half-Life games.
But it's a free game. It is a free game, but you have to pay for it. But $50. But just for a battle, a Fortnite battle.
I think Epic have understood their audience is a lot younger, and they don't want people playing the game to become the next competitive sensation. They want people playing the game to have fun, and fair enough. They integrated so many community-based stuff into the game that I believe now they even have like community islands and stuff which pay you money for making it. That's a beautiful thing to add into your game. That's amazing community support from Epic. Like, good job on them. But what they failed in was being competitive. When you have a meta-shifting game with new update, when you decide to nerf SMGs, building mechanics, the core identity of the game, the gunplay, the recoil, whatever they changed. I don't know what they changed. They changed something. The something that they changed stops the game from growing in a competitive manner. It kind of hurt them. They didn't take a big hit from it, but they kind of took a hit from it. No longer will we see people grinding their game to make it into esports, and if people are, then fair enough, knock yourself out. The prize pool is reduced from what it once was, and it makes sense. The Epic have to split their resources. They're now accommodating for the people who make community-based content, the creative codes that people bring in to attract new audiences. They need to accommodate for all the collaborations they have and split up their resources. And not only that, Epic are working on projects outside of Fortnite through their launcher on the PC platform. It's kind of crazy for Epic right now. They're one of the only other companies out there that can do so many things at once, and the other one being Valve. I'll get to them in a second.
Fortnite is pretty much putting their everything into Creative 2.0 and Unreal Engine, and they believe that that is the future of Fortnite. They are investing so much money into this, and they're pretty much giving it back to all the creators that are going to be. Obviously, there's still Fortnite competitive, but we've all seen the viewership kind of start to decline in competitive. We've seen a lot of people quit, a lot of people are complaining.
But then it came to a point where Epic had to make a decision. This was probably the riskiest decision they've ever had to make with the game. They had to decide whether to keep the game competitive or casual, and they chose casual. That was the first mistake Epic made. The second mistake, this one actually screwed them up even more. The game's success came because everyone was buying the battle pass. It was Epic's way of making money through the game. With all the new players coming in yearly, if they're no longer buying the battle pass because this game has been so casualized and socialized into just being creative stuff that people do rather than playing the base game, people no longer want to buy the battle pass. Do you kind of see where I'm going now? If people aren't buying the battle pass, guess what? You're not making money. You've lost a stream of income. The battle pass was a major point of Epic's success and why they were able to accommodate the competitive scene for so long. When that asset is basically removed from your game and people just straight away go to the cosmetics and the short-term purchases and only buy things they specifically want, it's the new players who come in that stop buying it that hurt Epic. They need to accommodate for the servers, the creative hubs, the people who buy cosmetics through the shops using creative codes or whatever. And if their money is not a consistent stream now, they need to divide it up into different people. It hurts their growth and they have to make sacrifices. So, let's talk about Counter-Strike's direct competition, Valorant. They just copied Fortnite's accessibility feature. The game's free to play with a battle pass. You play the game, that's it. You can either buy the stuff if you want it, or you could just play the game for the rest of your life. And that's what the Smurfs do. I've heard streamers say that Valorant is the future of esports, and more importantly, the future of like FPS games. I just want to take a pause on that and say that that's not the case. Valorant is the game that already has an expiration date on it, and the reason why is because it has a meta-shifting ideology. I don't know why, but Riot decided to make it a minimum requirement to introduce a new agent into this game every 3 months. Why? Why every 3 months? It just doesn't make sense to me. If you want to add new agents into your game when it becomes stale, that makes sense to me. But when you add it every 3 months, do you not realize what you're doing? Adding new agents that shift the meta completely from one opposite to the other is not healthy for your game in the long run. What do I mean by this? Well, when you shift your meta, you have a domino effect on the rest of your community. Many people either benefit from it or take a really big hit from it, and I want to focus on the big hit. As you may know, there are certain content creators, let's say Average Jonas, okay? He made educational content with Sova. He did all these lineups, these recons, the drones. I don't know what he did. He was pretty good with Sova because he spent so much time learning how to play Sova, and his brand grew because of it. His whole brand was featured around Sova, and he grew with Sova. As more people played Sova and Sova was pushed into the meta, he became more and more popular because of it. And when the game was growing, you were growing with the agents, and the popularity was a win-win-win-win-win. With the introduction of Optimus Prime, Eminem, and Five Nights at Freddy's all the time Jonas put into making recon and reveal videos, it feels punishing in a way. Not only for him making it, but for people learning it, they feel punished because now Sova's reveal is like just a recon thing that gives you wall hacks, while KO's knife or Fade's eye or whatever give you reveals, but they also suppress the hell out of you and stop you from using the rest of your abilities. And as for Average Jonas, like, he kind of got screwed over. More and more people start playing KO, Fade, and even recently Gecko. I don't know about you guys, but an EMP, whatever the hell this is much better than the Kamehameha Sova has. For Average Jonas, you know, he had to transition his content away from Sova. He knew that he cannot continue making reveal videos. He's now transitioned into making all types of react videos, descriptive videos, comedic videos, whatever. That's the face of his brand now, which is casual content. There were other content creators like this chambermaid called Thunning, I think, and he took a really big hit from the problem. He was one of the Chamber mains I watched mainly because of his insight was so informative, and as Chamber was becoming so overpowered in the meta, which shouldn't have happened in the first place, but because Chamber was so broken on his release, this guy skyrocketed in popularity and he was growing to successful levels. But then when Riot decided to nerf Chamber, they also nerfed this guy's account and his brand and his channel, his whatever. All the work he puts into learning Chamber, you've just been punished for doing so. And now he had to transition away from making Chamber content. But I think now he's gone back to playing Chamber, but Riot force you to make transitions you're not comfortable about. Being a community member, I don't understand it. If you're a community member and you're putting your time into Riot's game, why are you getting punished for doing so? It's not as if Riot intended you to get hurt from the process, but it happens because of their unnecessary requirement for making a meta shifting game. If they want to surpass CS and become an accessible game, don't hurt your players for playing the game and learning stuff. This is where agent balancing again is it's just a terrible problem. Agent balancing is an expiration date. Do you not learn from Overwatch? What I'm trying to say is Riot, they punish you for playing the game. They punish you for learning the game, and they punish you for discovering things, and they don't want you doing that. What they want you doing is playing the game and putting money in. That's it. They don't want you turning into a sweat. They've made some very controversial changes in the past as well, with like the whole change of the HUD layout and not announcing it in the patch notes, people complaining about it, it becoming a big war controversy, and then finally they reverted back just because it was controversial. And I know what I'm talking about because I have played Valorant myself. I've played the game competitively and casually. I've learned agents like KO, Gecko, Jet, Chamber, Fade, and I feel punished each act because the new agents that they introduced into the game just hurt me and my progress. I'm required to either focus my time and energy into learning one agent instead of playing who I actually want to play. I'm not trying to be a little rat and just say, oh, you nerfed Chamber, I can't play the game anymore, I want to play the game. No, what I'm trying to say is, if I had spent all my time learning Sova, well, guess what? KO's better, so learn him now. Fade's better, learn her now. Gecko's better, learn him. Why are you still playing Sova? I'm being punished for playing the game. That's how I feel playing Valorant. At first, it may seem like a good thing for the player base because they're keeping things fresh, you know? New agent, boom! New agent, boom! Boom! We're gonna nerf you! We're gonna make you OP! Wow! They hurt the competitive scene as well. There were so many competitive players who got screwed over when Chamber got nerfed. Why? Because he was broken. Why release him broken in the first place? Like, does nothing go through Riot's mind when they say, oh, we're gonna release someone who TPs in a freaking second? For a long time, Jet, Chamber, and Reyna were a big part of the meta. When the game first came out, Jet was overpowered. So many people complained. They said Valorant felt broken. I can't play the game. It nerfed Jet. But they never did it. And then 2 years later, or I think a year later or whatever, they finally nerfed Jet. But then they added Chamber.
Above you and behind you.
Oh boy, this game was in the most broken state in video game history. This guy was in every lobby. If you didn't have Chamber on your team, you lost the game. That's how bad it was. And again, typical Riot games make a slight nerf. Hopefully that changes everything. No, another nerf here. Maybe that'll change something. Oh, his bullets are expensive. Let's reduce it by 50. That will change something. No, it doesn't. It didn't change anything. He's still broken because he can teleport whenever he wants. His trip was so broken. Then they finally, a year later, a whole damn year later, they made a change. But the damage had been done. Certain pro players like Tens or Ye, they take a hit because of the changes in the meta. They spend all their time before they turn pro into learning these agents and getting a good feel for them, and then suddenly when they are playing at a pro level, these agents get changed like it's nothing, like it's another Sunday or something. When the meta shifts so often, the problem is the time you put into learning the game feels punishing, and if you don't keep up with the shifting meta, you fall behind. And these guys, they take a hit. When Chamber got nerfed, Ye, I think, has lost his position as a player in many teams, and he needs to rediscover that. But it's a difficult thing to do. Is he a duelist? Is he a sentinel? Is he an initiator now? What role can he play? He's definitely mechanically skilled to play it, but he needs to rediscover himself and at the same time compete. The pressure is on the players. This is what I don't like. Why are you hurting your competitive players? And that's just the first problem. The second problem is that this game is stale. Let's be honest, Valorant is a stale game. People want community integration into the game. They want to do surfing, they want to do custom raise bunny hop maps, they want to do jet updraft challenge, XD lamau. They want to do stuff, and you don't give them the tools to do so, mainly because you cannot monetize off of it. And your jobs will be at risk if you do. Riot Games will never introduce any community-based stuff into their game. Not for people who make skins, not for people who make maps, not for people who do anything in the game. They want to be in full control of their game. They want to make all the money they can and then reinvest it into their business and their other projects or whatever. When they start integrating community-based stuff and then people complain about not being paid for their efforts, that's where the problems lie. And the pressure would be, there would be an additional pressure on Riot to like forcefully follow business methodologies that Epic or Valve do. Riot don't have those resources. Their battle pass doesn't give you money back for a reason, because they need to keep that money reinvested into the game and progress. Their skins, their bundles, they're expensive for a reason. They need that money to reinvest into competitive, casual, whatever play, the events, whatever. If they need to start splitting the income they have across community members, they can no longer have the prize pools. The competitive scene will take a hit from this, even bigger than it has today already. That's scary. That's very scary. Valorant, you can be a competitive game if you want. You can be a casual game if you want. You can be accessible as well, but where you fail is in community support. No integration stops the community from expanding. It stops the skill level from increasing. It stops from mechanics improving. I will get into that in a second with Rocket League, but without community-based support, you're basically making your game more stale. And I understand why they haven't added it yet, because they cannot afford to. Adding it would hurt the game more than benefiting it from the business side. But as for the players, they really want new ways to learn to play Valorant.
Personally, I'm finding it really hard to find ways to make Valorant interesting or to find unique twists to at least diversify from the regular gameplay that everyone is so used to. And if this keeps going on, I feel like I might be forced to move away from Valorant.
Riot, they know Valorant is not a long-term game, believe it or not. They're already working on a new entertainment product for their audience. They're not focused on Valorant's long-term success. I really don't think Riot care about this game in the long term. Is Valorant going to be relevant in 10 years? Probably not. It's going to be at the same position a game that Rainbow Six Siege or Overwatch 2 is in, and it's kind of sad to see. And I want to talk about another game that I think follows the same competitive idea as Counter-Strike, and that is Rocket League. Now, Rocket League has been classified now as a psychological horror. It's a football car sports game that has a really unique idea. It's implemented well, and initially Psyonix were an indie game, but they've expanded since and been bought out by Epic. They've become a pretty big company nowadays and no longer considered an indie game. When this game first came out, indie game, pushing out a new idea, made moves, everyone liked it, it was fun, it was cool, it was casual, it was kind of competitive, it had ranks and stuff, it had custom maps, people made maps, you could learn to fly, you got better at the game. The problem is Psyonix. The only good thing Psyonix have done with Rocket League is make the game. That's it. That is the last good thing they have done to Rocket League. They've just made the game. If you don't know, Psyonix are a very lazy company, and trust me, again, I know because I have put in way too much time into Rocket League. It's a prime example of a game that's easy to play but really hard to master. Something like CS does. It's easy to play, hard to master. Rocket League doesn't have meta shifts like Valorant, so that's something it succeeds in. Learning to play the game today will help you 10 years from now. Rocket League only succeeds in 3 out of the 5 categories, and boy do they really messed up with this one. Psyonix, they have no excuse for the lazy development they've put into this game. No one is as greedy as Psyonix. They are cash cows when it comes to Rocket League. So, as you may know, Epic recently bought out Rocket League back in 2020 COVID. Blah, blah, blah. Epic and Steam, they've been at war for a long time. So, naturally problems occurred because this game was on Steam at one point. And as for you console people, you just don't exist for 10 seconds. I'm on about the PC players. The PC players, they had access to all the workshop materials, the cool stuff, and blah blah blah. With the new influx of players, guess what? They can't access those things because it's on a different platform. The Epic Games version of Rocket League is an entirely different game, and because of that, they can't access the stuff the Steam Workshop has for the Steam users. It already creates a barrier between skill levels. Oh, why didn't Epic just move the workshop items into Rocket League or make their own hub? Again, similar to Fortnite, a community-based integration into your game is an expensive project. That's the whole reason why they don't want the Steam Workshop anymore. They don't want you creating stuff and then having to pay you for your efforts. And that's something which game companies, they don't understand. They don't understand. Community integration is important because it helped Rocket League expand its skill ceiling. It pushed the mechanics for Rocket League. And if you remove that resource for new players, guess what? They're limited in skill. They only have free play, the dog training mode you've made for them. It's not like it's impossible. The Epic game player base can still access the Steam Workshop, but it's very difficult. It requires you downloading all these mods, changing your map files, changing your game, changing everything. Just why make an inefficient process? Why not add your own community based stuff to help it? Why not add like the important stuff? Oh wait, they're lazy. It's Psyonix. They're lazy. Like I said, Psyonix are a lazy company. When it comes to improving the game, Psyonix are no longer the hungry game company they once were when this game came out. They no longer want people using mods, and they're starting to integrate features from the mods into the game itself so that the console players at least can improve. But it was so added so late into the game. When the game went free to play, that was the prime time to add everything you needed to add into the game, but you chose to delay it so much that it hurts your player base. The player base for Rocket League, when it went free to play, had once reached the levels of 1 million. 1 million! Rocket League reaching 1 million players! But guess what? Psyonix ditched the development. They continued pushing new seasons, and with each season came new game-breaking bugs. Do any of you remember the duplicate login glitch? Do you remember the Neo Tokyo comic map that took them like 4 months to remove? Do you remember when bots were a problem? When there were literal hackers in Rocket League playing for you? If you don't know, RO Jim is a streamer who was using machine learning based algorithm bots to play against each other, gather data, and then eventually the bots become better than you. For a while they were better than a majority of the player base, specifically the low ranks. Some nasty ass, some really messed up people out there, they found a way to get that bot play for you. So the bot was playing for you now. You didn't need to even touch the controller. The bot's playing and doing all the commands for you. This broke the game for 4 months. It was infected with bots. It took them so long to fix the problem. Psyonix, they suck at communication. They suck at solving the problem because they're just lazy at their core. It was seen before with previous updates. Like when a map is bad, it doesn't take you 2 seasons to remove it from the game. It takes you 1 day. When people say, I can't see properly, can you remove this map? They know people will continue buying the DLCs, which sometimes are good, but many of the times are quite questionable. This game is managed poorly and sucks at development, and because of that, guess what? The player base has declined. It will no longer see the levels of 1 million because one, people don't trust Psyonix. They haven't fixed smurfing, they haven't fixed trolling, they haven't fixed so many of the problems within the game that I could list on forever. But have they taken actions to solve them? Yes, but they're so minor, they don't help you. Other game companies have made full-on fledged attempts to remove necessary components of their game. What does Rocket League do? What does Psyonix do? I just don't understand. When you release bad arenas, when you release bugs, when you release all these problems with your game each season, why do you not fix them immediately? Why does it take you till the next season to then start fixing the game? The game remains broken for like 3 months. 3 months of you playing a broken game. It feels frustrating, does it not? What do you want from Rocket League? Do you not want to see the game expand? Because the competitive side of Rocket League is really, really good. The game has improved so much over the years, with like mechanics introduced, to meta shifting components, to weird ass plays. The competitive scene for Rocket League is amazing. It is one of the best competitive scenes out there. The crowds love this game. But when you fail to please your core audience, it cannot expand further. The competitive scene struggles to break new records, is what I'm trying to say. While CS will break it with its next major. You see the problem? They're content with their success. They're happy with it. So be it. Once this game starts plummeting, and once Psyonix start having to do something about it, I think it's too late. And a big reason to why Psyonix are no longer pushing themselves any further is that there's no competition. There honestly is no competition. Their game is so unique. Literally nobody else can compete with them. How do you compete against a game where if you copy them, no one's going to follow you because they're just going to play Rocket League. They've invested their time and energy into it. You can't clone Rocket League is what I'm trying to say. And that's why Psyonix, they get away with being so lazy and effortless and so silent, and they don't even communicate with their fans, and they get away with it because there's no competition. And these bad boys, they got competition now. So moving back to Counter-Strike. Oh boy, why is this game gonna make moves? Well, it nails every criteria. Casual, competitive, accessible, community support. And the last one, this is one they didn't do for a long time, but they're doing it now. Good development. Counter-Strike is the only competitive game out there that I can say is managed by the community. The community's voice is very, very loud for this game, and Valve have to listen or they've messed up big time. What do I mean by this? I'm glad you asked. Thank you for speaking. Thank you. Since the game at its core is a community-based mod, there's no surprise why all these things have been added to the game. There's surfing, B-hop, adventure map, rogue maps. Shout out to this guy, he made an amazing roguelike mod. Sucks that CS2 is coming out and many people won't play it. There's so many crazy stuff that CS has done over the years that other games will never have in them. The skins, the agents, the cosmetics, they all evolved with this game over time. And that's what made Counter-Strike, the community. Valve, they suck at development, don't get me wrong. For a long time, they struggled to make necessary changes, and they have probably made some of the most dumbest changes in gaming history. So, you know, the R8? This shit's an op. And I want to talk about the competitive scene first. Valve know that you cannot shift the meta unlike Valorant, Riot, whatever. It's a game of chess. They want you playing a game of chess. It's you versus your opponents. The competitive rules, they've been the same since the beginning. Team A versus Team B. You're in an objective. You're either saving the hostage or you're planning a bomb or defusing it, whatever, stopping them from planning it. And it's been the same. If you took a pro from 1.6 or Source and you made them play CSGO, I guarantee you they're gonna be competitive. They're gonna still have a chance. Keeping up with the meta is a daunting task, and Valve know this. That's a big reason why Team Fortress 2 barely gets updated. So all the time and effort you put into learning the game, you don't get punished for it. And even after they're importing the game over to Source 2, the nade lineups you spent your time learning, the spray patterns, all of that shifts over with Source 2, baby. Competitive and casual players, they don't feel punished for taking breaks playing the game. Counter-Strike do competitive gaming right. It's an even playing field for everyone to have. You have access to all the tools on the workshop. It's all on one platform. There's no complications with, like, even though they tried to make a cheeky little Xbox 360 and PS3 game. The game is a social game at its core. It's a competitive game from what it blossomed, and it's turning into a business. Have I talked about the skins? People love this game. They will invest into it. Valve just released cases and people will go crazy trying to buy them. Everyone's after the new knife, the new skin, the new agent. The fans behind Counter-Strike are very passionate people. They've all played the game from its early development stages to what it is now growing up, and they have a strong emotional connection when they watch competitive players play. But even if you do make the perfect game, you cannot make the perfect community. Yes, this game is bombarded with cheaters. I know there are so many cheaters in Counter-Strike. It's crazy, but it's not a new thing to the game. Counter-Strike Source was also infected with cheaters, and ESEA stepped in to provide you a subscription-based matchmaking system to even out the playing field and get rid of the hackers. The same ideas transitioned and got ported over to CSGO. Cheating still exists in Counter-Strike, but with Counter-Strike 2's improvement over VAC, I think, and with Faceit going and taking measures to stop smurfing and cheaters, the game won't suffer from cheaters, is what I'm trying to say. The community know this for Counter-Strike, and new players coming in, it's going to become accessible to them, and Valve will make it an easier process for you to know, okay, there won't be cheaters in your game. If you do see them, we're going to have live bans and stuff like that, which is something that already exists in other games. Matchmaking in ranked was really broken for a long time. A big reason why so many people play Valorant is because they hated the matchmaking Counter-Strike had. They ran into cheaters like 50% of the time. It was a big problem, a big epidemic. But Valve are the only company who have had such a long period of time to fix their problems. And that's something Valve do beautifully. When a map is competitive, they won't change it immediately. They will look at what's right and wrong. With Mirage, people wanted better smoke, so they changed the roof of the spawn so you could throw a better smoke. With Vertigo, people complained about its layout and how it was so claustrophobic. So Valve have gone through so many revisions with the game. They don't want people playing the game and getting hurt by it, so that's why they pushed professionals to play it and improve on it. They wanted the pros to come up with a meta that works, and then Valve learned from that and start making the changes they need on the map to make it more balanced. As for the casual scene, oh boy, have you ever joined a casual server? This is the most chill place to come back after a long day of work. Just hear your favorite curse word. There are so many things for you to do. I don't think you would ever get bored playing this game casually, and if you get bored of playing matchmaking, you can just play Danger Zone, Wingman, or anything else, and it's a fresh new experience for you. So moving forward, Counter-Strike 2 are one of the only game companies out there that have met all 5 of the requirements. More than Valorant being competition, I see Epic being competition. Yeah, Epic Games. With Fortnite. Fortnite is CS's competition because they need to surpass not only the player base, but then the community support for that game. And this brings me to the whole point of me making this video is not to ask you if Counter-Strike is the next big game. Are you ditching Valorant to play? No, I don't care about the player base. My question is to community members who work on making content for all these games out there, for Roblox, for Fortnite, for Rocket League in the past, for Counter-Strike in the past, for the Half-Life mods. Who is your next employee? How do you want to expand your portfolio? Do you want to work with Fortnite and make a lot of money, but then learn Unreal so that you have transferable skills to make your own game and other stuff? Do you want to work with Roblox and make money, but learn a difficult programming language? If you work with Psyonix, well, they're not going to integrate your community-based stuff into their game. And as for Valorant, if you're going to continue making skins and advertising ideas to Valorant, they're just going to rip it off of you and put it into the game. No credit. Maybe they give you credit, but they're not going to give you money for it because they can't afford to. And as for Valve, do you want to make a legacy for yourself? Do you want to be a part of history? Do you want to be a part of map making? Do you want to make a skin and earn passive income over time? Because people go crazy for this stuff. They want this stuff like it's no tomorrow. And more than a game's success, it comes down to the community. If the community is strong, a game is successful. And if the game is successful, it will expand. The player base will bloom. It gets more competitive. It becomes more casual. It becomes accessible. And it's all these crazy things that happen at once. And it all comes down to being a community-based game. That's what makes Counter-Strike Counter-Strike. It's because it's a community-based game since its core. Even though Valve own it, they've made controversial decisions, they still are a community-based game. They will listen to the community better than anyone else out there. I guarantee you that. And Valve, they've made mistakes, but they've learned from their mistakes. Unlike the other companies out there, they're still trying to learn from their mistakes while Valve are ahead. They have the 10-year jumpstart over everyone else. And that is why I think Valve are the future of multiplayer gaming. They are going to be the only ones with the biggest player base, the most loyal fans, the best community members, and it will be a casual and accessible experience for people who are new to the game. I think Fortnite is the only real competition out there, because just because it's not competitive, it stops breaking new records and it stops expanding its player base. If I had to make a decision to put my time to make skins for Valorant or CS, I would choose CS any day, because not only the new engine gives you more accessible features, and trust me, Hammer was pain to work with when it came to map making. I don't even know what people use for skins. With the new tools coming out, it's going to be even more accessible for these creators to make content for their game. They've made integrations and I think some simpler, more efficient software. It might help people, it might hurt people, I don't know. I'm not experienced, but what I'm trying to say is, if I trust anyone in the future, I trust Valve. More than anyone else out there, because of their history, their experience, and they're actively trying to make their game better than their competition. They know what to take, they know who to listen to, and they know how to act, because they've had such a long time frame to work off of. Other games don't have that. They don't have that. At the end of the day, just play the games you enjoy playing. And with time, you will see this unfold. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Hey, it's just my theory, my game theory. But honestly, it's just what I think would happen, because I've played all these games growing up for years. Specifically this one, growing up for years, and I understand the communities. I've invested my time into them. And if you disagree with me, fair enough. Like, let me know why you disagree with me, and what I got wrong and what you might have gotten right. Anyways, thank you for watching my video. This video took me a lot of effort to make. It's my first time making a video style documentary essay, blah. I'm obviously new to this. I really do appreciate all of you for watching it this far, and let me know what other videos you'd like to see in the future, or what else you'd like to see me make. I'm quite curious on the success this video might have. So thank you for watching. Take care everyone. Goodbye.